Hello and welcome. You find yourself standing at the gates of one of the most remarkable cities in all of Faerun, a jewel of the Sword Coast that has captured the imagination of adventurers, merchants, and dreamers for centuries. Neverwinter, they call it, and the name itself whispers of magic and mystery. This is not simply a place marked on a map. This is a living testament to resilience, a city where flowers bloom in the depths of winter and warmth radiates from the very stones beneath your feet. The origins of Neverwinter's name have been debated by scholars and sages for generations. And like many legends, the truth seems to shift depending on who tells the tale. One story, perhaps the most romantic, speaks of a sun elf named Haluth, who walked these lands more than 1,000 years before the Dale reckoning calendar even began. In the year -10 Dale reckoning, the elves of Ilianbrun faced a devastating invasion from Eluskan forces. These northern warriors, fierce and relentless, drove the elven defenders back, until Haluth never found himself with his back against the confluence of the Neverwinter River and the Sea of Swords, surrounded by enemies on all sides. Never chose this very spot to make his final stand. He named the location Neverwinter, a grim acknowledgement that he believed he would not survive to see another season. The elf lord prepared to die with honor, his blade ready, his heart resigned to fate. But fate, as you will learn, has a way of surprising even those who think they know their destiny. Just as the Eluskan forces closed in for the killing blow, human allies arrived from the south. These unexpected reinforcements turned the tide of battle, and together, elves and humans drove back the invasion. Never survived his winter. He survived to found a city on that very spot, keeping the name that had marked what he thought would be his grave. Over the centuries that followed, the name shortened and softened on human tongues, becoming simply Neverwinter. But there exists another explanation, one that perhaps speaks more to the everyday magic that permeates this place. The renowned loremaster Volathamp Gedarm, known throughout the realms simply as Volo, offers a different origin. He claims, and the equally famous sage Elminster agrees, that the name comes from something more practical, yet no less wondrous. Neverwinter's gardeners have achieved legendary status throughout Faerun for their ability to keep gardens growing and flowers blooming, even when snow blankets the ground. This is no mere horticultural skill. The city sits above a network of hot springs and volcanic vents that warm the ground and the air. The Neverwinter River itself never freezes. Even in the harshest depths of winter, steam rises from the water on cold mornings, creating an ethereal mist that shrouds the city in mystery. These two legends, contradictory yet both compelling, speak to the dual nature of Neverwinter itself. It is a place of ancient battles and elven sorrow, but also a place of natural wonder and human achievement. The city has grown from whatever its origins might have been into a major power on the Sword Coast. Its location proves strategically invaluable. Positioned as it is roughly halfway between the great city of Waterdeep to the south and the rougher, more dangerous Luskan to the north, merchants traveling the high road find Neverwinter an essential stop, a place to rest, resupply, and conduct business in relative safety. The city's architecture reflects its long history and the various peoples who have called it home. Tall stone buildings with slate roofs crowd together in some districts, while others feature more open plazas and gardens that take advantage of the unusual warmth. The walls, strong and well-maintained, have protected the citizens from threats, both mundane and magical. At the heart of the city stands Castle Never, home to Lord Nashor Alagandar, a ruler respected for his wisdom and beloved for his genuine care for his people. Lord Nashor has governed Neverwinter for decades, seeing it through times of prosperity and through darker periods that tested the city's strength. But now, as you arrive in the year 1372 Dale Reckoning, Neverwinter faces perhaps its greatest threat. A plague has come to the city. Not a natural disease, not something that might be understood and treated through conventional means. This affliction bears a name that sends chills through even the bravest hearts. The Wailing Death. Those who contract this plague suffer horribly. Their skin becomes covered in painful lesions. Fever ravages their bodies. But worst of all, in their final moments, victims release a terrible wailing scream that echoes through the streets, a sound of pure agony that no one who hears it can ever forget. The name comes from this final cry, this last expression of unbearable suffering. The Wailing Death shows no mercy and makes no distinctions. Rich and poor alike fall victim to its touch. Nobles in their fine houses die screaming just as surely as beggars in the alleys of the Beggar's Nest district. The plague spreads despite all efforts to contain it. Clerics pray to their gods for divine intervention. Mages study their spellbooks, searching for magical solutions. Healers work until they collapse from exhaustion, trying every remedy they know. Nothing works. The death toll climbs higher each day. Bodies must be disposed of quickly to prevent further contamination. Funeral pyres burn day and night outside the city walls, their smoke visible for miles, a grim beacon that warns travelers of the pestilence within. In this time of desperate crisis, Lord Nashor has placed much of the practical response in the hands of a remarkable woman. Lady Aribeth de Tilmarand serves as both a paladin of Tyr, the god of justice, and as one of Lord Nashor's most trusted advisors. She is a moon elf of striking appearance, with the silver hair and violet eyes typical of her people. But it is her dedication and fierce determination that truly define her. Aribeth has devoted herself completely to finding a cure for the Wailing Death. She coordinates efforts across the city, manages resources, and refuses to give in to despair, even as the situation grows more dire. Aribeth has established a training academy within Neverwinter, recognizing that the city will need skilled defenders and problem solvers in the days ahead. This academy, known as the Neverwinter Academy, takes promising individuals and trains them in combat, magic, stealth, and the various skills that adventurers need to survive in a dangerous world. The Academy provides a crucial service, preparing a new generation to face the challenges that beset Neverwinter and the surrounding lands. Students come from various backgrounds and races, united by their desire to make a difference and their willingness to face danger in service of the greater good. You are one of these students. You have spent weeks or perhaps months training at the Academy, learning the fundamentals of your chosen profession. Whether you wield a sword, cast arcane spells, channel divine power, or rely on stealth and cunning, you have worked hard to develop your abilities. The Academy's instructors have pushed you, tested you, and prepared you for the harsh realities that await beyond the training grounds. You have formed bonds with fellow students, learning to work as part of a team while also developing your individual strengths. The night of your graduation should be a celebration. This should be a moment of triumph, marking your transition from student to full adventurer. The Academy has prepared a ceremony, and despite the grim situation in the city, there is an attempt to maintain some semblance of normalcy and hope. But fate, that force which shaped the founding of Neverwinter itself, has other plans for this night. Just as the ceremony reaches its conclusion, chaos erupts. The Academy comes under attack by mysterious assassins. These are no common thugs or desperate criminals. They move with purpose and skill, clearly pursuing a specific objective. The attack focuses on the main hall where the graduation ceremony takes place. Assassins, clad in dark clothing and wielding weapons with deadly efficiency, burst through doors and windows. Students and instructors who moments before were celebrating now find themselves fighting for their lives. The instructors, seasoned warriors and spellcasters, immediately move to protect the students and repel the invaders. You draw your weapon or prepare your magic, your training taking over even as your mind struggles to process what is happening. This is no training exercise. These enemies mean to kill. In the confusion and violence, you notice that the assassins seem particularly interested in reaching a specific location within the Academy. They fight their way toward the storage chambers, the secure rooms where the Academy keeps valuable items and important research materials. This is not a random attack or an attempt to simply cause chaos. Someone has sent these assassins for a specific purpose, and that purpose involves something stored within the Academy's vaults. The instructors realize this as well, and they shout warnings, trying to redirect defenders to protect these critical areas. You fight your way through the Academy, engaging assassins in corridors and chambers that you know well from your training. Each battle tests the skills you have learned, forcing you to apply lessons that until this moment were merely theoretical. The clash of steel on steel, the flash of spells, the cries of wounded and dying combatants create a hellish symphony that transforms the Academy from a place of learning into a battlefield. You discover that you are capable of more than you knew. Adrenaline and training combine to make you effective and dangerous. You strike down enemies, protect wounded allies, and push forward toward the heart of the crisis. Eventually, you reach the main vault area and discover the horrifying truth. The assassins have succeeded in breaching the secured storage. They have stolen several critical items, but most devastating of all, they have taken the supplies of rare reagents that the Academy's researchers believed might be key to developing a cure for the Wailing death. Creatures from Waterdeep and the surrounding regions had been captured, or their remains collected, each representing a specific magical property that combined might counteract the plague's supernatural nature. These creatures were kept in magically preserved stasis, ready for the research that might save thousands of lives. Now they are gone, stolen by enemies whose identity remains a mystery. The attack finally ends. The surviving assassins flee or are killed. The Academy stands damaged, bloodied, but not destroyed. Students and instructors gather to assess the damage and tend to the wounded. The cost is high. Good people died tonight, teachers and students alike, who will never see another dawn. But there is no time for proper mourning. Lady Aribeth herself arrives at the Academy, her face grave but determined. She surveys the damage, speaks with survivors, and quickly grasps the full scope of what has occurred. Aribeth makes a decision that will change your life forever. She looks at you, one of the students who fought bravely during the attack, who showed not just skill, but courage and quick thinking under the worst possible circumstances. You are not the most experienced adventurer. You have literally just graduated. But experience is not what Neverwinter needs right now. The city needs people who can act, who will not give up, who possess the determination to see impossible tasks through to completion. Aribeth sees these qualities in you. She gives you your first mission, and it is a task that would intimidate veterans many years your senior. You must recover what was stolen. More than that, you must find the creatures needed to create a cure for the Wailing death. The stolen samples are lost, but the knowledge of what is needed remains. 4 specific creatures possess the properties necessary for the cure: an intellect devourer from the dark places beneath the earth, a yuan-ti from the serpent people's hidden enclaves, a cockatrice with its petrifying abilities, a dryad from the forests, representing nature's purest magic. Each creature is rare, dangerous, or both. Obtaining samples from all 4 will require you to venture into every district of Neverwinter, to navigate complex social and political situations, to fight through hostile territory, and to prove yourself capable of completing tasks that seem designed to break lesser individuals. But there is no choice. Neverwinter dies a little more each day. The Wailing death shows no signs of slowing. Every day that passes without a cure means more innocent people screaming their last breaths, more families destroyed, more hope draining away from a city that has endured so much throughout its long history. You accept the mission because how can you not? You are a graduate of the Neverwinter Academy. You are trained. You are ready. Or at least, you must be ready, because ready or not, the fate of the city now rests in part on your shoulders as you prepare to leave the damaged academy and venture out into a city gripped by plague and fear. You cannot know how deep this conspiracy runs. You cannot imagine the betrayals that await, the revelations that will shake the foundations of everything you believe. You think you are searching for a cure to a plague. What you will actually discover is far more sinister, far more dangerous, and far more important than anything you could anticipate on this night of blood and fire. The legend of the Wailing Death begins here, with you, standing in the ruins of a celebration turned massacre, accepting a mission that by all rights should be impossible. Neverwinter's fate hangs in the balance. Your journey starts now. Section 2, The Waterdeep Creatures, Quest for Salvation. The morning after the attack on the Academy, you stand in the Temple of Tyr within the city core district, the central heart of Neverwinter, where all the city's major institutions maintain their presence. Lady Aribeth de Tilmarand awaits you here. Her armor gleaming despite the long night she has endured coordinating the response to the Academy assault. The temple itself rises as a monument to justice and order, its architecture reflecting the stern but fair nature of the god it honors. Tyr, the maimed god, the even-handed, demands that his followers pursue justice without compromise, that they protect the innocent and punish the guilty regardless of personal cost. Aribeth explains the situation with a clarity born of desperation. The creatures that were stolen from the Academy came originally from Waterdeep, the great city of splendors far to the south. Waterdeep's scholars and mages had identified these specific creatures as possessing properties that, when combined properly, could counteract the supernatural aspects of the Wailing Death. 4 creatures in total: an intellect devourer, a brain with legs that feeds on the thoughts and minds of sentient beings, a Yuan-Ti, one of the serpent people whose origins trace back to ancient empires built on dark pacts and blood sacrifice, a cockatrice, the magical hybrid creature whose very touch can turn living flesh to stone, and a dryad, a fey spirit bound to nature itself, representing the purest form of natural magic, untainted by corruption. The stolen creatures are lost, likely dead or destroyed by now by whoever orchestrated the Academy attack. But the knowledge of what is needed remains intact. Somewhere within Neverwinter's 4 main districts, specimens of these creatures can be found, or their essential components acquired. Your task seems straightforward in concept, but impossibly dangerous in execution. You must venture into each district, navigate whatever challenges await there, and return with the components Aribeth needs to synthesize a cure. The city core serves as your base of operations. From this central district, you can access the Peninsula District to the north, the Black Lake District to the west, the Docks District to the east, and the Beggar's Nest to the south. Each district has its own character, its own population, and its own unique problems that the Wailing Death has only made worse. The social fabric of Neverwinter, already strained by the usual tensions between rich and poor, between different races and factions, now tears further under the weight of plague and fear. You begin your search in the Peninsula District, the wealthiest and most prestigious area of Neverwinter. Here, noble families maintain their estates behind high walls and locked gates, gardens carefully cultivated to take advantage of Neverwinter's unusual warmth, display exotic flowers and plants that would die anywhere else on the Sword Coast during winter months. The streets are cleaner here, the buildings better maintained, the guards more numerous and better equipped. But wealth provides no protection against the Wailing Death. If anything, the plague seems to strike the peninsula with particular cruelty, as if mocking the residents' assumption that money and status can shield them from any threat. The nobles of the peninsula live in constant fear. They barricade themselves in their homes, refusing visitors, trusting no one. Servants who show even the slightest sign of illness are cast out immediately, left to die in the streets rather than risk infecting their masters. This paranoia and cruelty, while understandable given the circumstances, creates an atmosphere of suspicion and hostility that makes your task more difficult. People who might normally cooperate with someone working on behalf of Lady Aribeth instead view you with distrust, wondering if you might be a carrier of the plague, or worse, someone looking to take advantage of the chaos. Within the peninsula, you encounter various factions and individuals, each with their own agendas. The nobility is not a unified bloc, but rather a collection of competing families and interests. Some genuinely want to help find a cure, recognizing that their wealth means nothing if the entire city dies around them. Others see opportunity in the crisis, ways to eliminate rivals, acquire property cheaply, or position themselves for power once the plague finally ends. You must navigate these political currents carefully, determining who can be trusted and who merely uses you for their own purposes. Your search in the peninsula eventually leads you to one of the watered Havian creature components, though the exact circumstances vary depending on which quests you pursue and which alliances you forge. The process teaches you important lessons about the complexity of what you face. This is not simply a matter of finding 4 creatures and returning them to Aribeth. Every step forward reveals new layers of conspiracy, new evidence that the Wailing Death is not a natural plague, but rather a weapon deployed by enemies whose identity and motivations remain frustratingly unclear. Moving to the Blacklake district, you find an area that sits between the extreme wealth of the peninsula and the poverty of other districts. Blacklake takes its name from the dark waters of the lake at its center, a body of water that reflects the sky like polished obsidian. This district houses the city's successful merchants, skilled artisans, and minor nobility who lack the ancient lineage or immense wealth needed to maintain estates in the peninsula. The Black Lake district also contains the Neverwinter Zoo, a collection of creatures from across Faerun and beyond, maintained for the education and entertainment of citizens. The zoo becomes crucial to your search for the watered Havian creatures. Within its boundaries, exotic animals from distant lands live in enclosures designed to mimic their natural habitats. But the plague has affected the zoo just as it has affected the rest of Neverwinter. Staff members have died or fled. The remaining keepers struggle to maintain the facility and care for the animals with dwindling resources and constant fear. Some of the more dangerous creatures have escaped their enclosures, creating hazards for anyone who enters the zoo grounds. You navigate the zoo carefully, dealing with escaped animals, hostile guards who have gone mad with fear and suspicion, and the challenging task of locating and securing one of the needed creature components. The Neverwinter Zoo holds secrets beyond its collection of animals. Hidden areas exist within the complex, chambers and passages that the public never sees, where the most dangerous specimens are kept, or where research takes place away from prying eyes. These restricted areas require special permissions to access, or alternatively, the skills to bypass locks and traps that protect them. In the Black Lake district, you also encounter the Moonstone Mask, an establishment that serves as theater, brothel, and information exchange all in one. The proprietor, a woman named Afala Chelderstorn, runs the Moonstone Mask with an iron hand concealed within a velvet glove. She maintains extensive networks of informants and contacts throughout Neverwinter, making her one of the most well-informed people in the city. Afala proves willing to share information and assistance, but always for a price. She is a businesswoman first, and even a plague will not make her give away what she can sell. The Docks District presents an entirely different environment. Here, Neverwinter's maritime commerce takes place. Ships from up and down the Sword Coast and beyond dock at the city's piers, unloading cargo and taking on new goods for transport to distant markets, or at least they did before the Wailing death struck. Now, many ships refuse to dock at Neverwinter at all, their captains unwilling to risk their crews to plague. The ships that do still come often find themselves quarantined, their crews not permitted to disembark until they have proven they carry no illness. The reduction in maritime traffic has devastated the Docks District's economy. Longshoremen, sailors, merchants who specialize in seaborne trade, ship repair specialists, and all the other professions that depend on busy docks find themselves without work and without income. Desperation breeds crime. The Docks District has always had a rougher character than other parts of Neverwinter, but now gangs fight openly over what little business remains. Protection rackets, theft, smuggling, and violence have increased dramatically. Within the Docks District, you encounter the Silver Sails Trading Company, a merchant organization that appears legitimate on the surface, but harbors deep secrets beneath. The Silver Sails Trading Company maintains warehouses, offices, and even access to parts of the city's aqueduct system. These aqueducts, ancient constructions that bring fresh water into Neverwinter and carry waste out, form a network beneath the city that few people ever see. The aqueducts provide passage for those who know their secrets, allowing movement throughout Neverwinter while bypassing the streets entirely. Your investigation in the Docks District leads you into these aqueducts, down into darkness and dampness, where things best left undisturbed make their homes. The aqueducts connect to old tombs and forgotten chambers, remnants of earlier periods in Neverwinter's long history. Some of these chambers contain treasures, both material and informational. Others contain dangers that have waited in the dark for someone unfortunate enough to stumble upon them. You fight through these underground passages, dealing with creatures both natural and supernatural, searching for the component you need, while also gathering evidence of the conspiracy behind the Wailing death. The Beggar's Nest represents Neverwinter's poorest district. Here, those without money, without prospects, without hope crowd into crumbling buildings and makeshift shelters. The Beggar's Nest has always been the city's shame, the place that gives the lie to Neverwinter's reputation as a jewel of civilization. Poverty, crime, and despair define daily life here even in the best of times. Now, with the Wailing death raging, the Beggar's Nest has become a vision of the underworld itself. The plague strikes hardest in the Beggar's Nest. Crowded conditions allow the disease to spread with terrifying speed. Poor nutrition and lack of access to healing make residents more susceptible to infection and less likely to survive if they contract the illness. Bodies pile up faster than they can be removed. The city government, overwhelmed by the crisis throughout Neverwinter, devotes minimal resources to the Beggar's Nest, essentially abandoning the district's residents to their fate. The wealthy and powerful view the poor as expendable, their deaths unfortunate, but not truly tragic in the way that the death of a noble or successful merchant would be. Despite these horrific conditions, or perhaps because of them, you find resilience and courage in the Beggar's Nest. People who have nothing still help each other. Neighbors share food. Strangers tend to the sick despite the risk to themselves. In the face of death, some discover reserves of compassion and strength they never knew they possessed. Not everyone in the Beggar's Nest is noble or kind. Crime and exploitation exist here just as they do everywhere. But the examples of selflessness shine all the brighter against the darkness. The Beggar's Nest contains its own secrets relevant to your quest. The district includes a cemetery, a potter's field where the poor are buried in unmarked graves, their names and stories forgotten almost before the earth covers their remains. This cemetery holds old tombs that predate much of modern Neverwinter, crypts that remember times when different peoples lived on this land. Some of these tombs have been sealed for centuries. Others show signs of recent disturbance, suggesting that someone has been exploring them for purposes unknown. Your investigation leads you into these tombs, into places of death and ancient magic. The dead do not always rest peacefully in Neverwinter's crypts. Necromantic energy, either naturally occurring or deliberately cultivated, animates corpses and calls forth spirits of the departed. You face undead creatures, mummies wrapped in rotting bandages, skeletons held together by dark magic, and other horrors that should not exist. These battles test not just your combat skills, but your courage, your ability to face fear and revulsion, and continue moving forward toward your objective. As you work through each district, recovering the watered Havian creature components one by one, a disturbing pattern emerges. Each time you return a component to Lady Aribeth at the Temple of Tyr in the city core, you find yourself attacked shortly afterward by assassins. These are not random muggers or desperate plague victims lashing out in madness. These are trained killers, equipped with quality weapons and gear, working with coordination and purpose. They target you specifically, knowing who you are and what you are doing. The assassins come in groups of 4, their numbers matching the number of watered Havian creatures you seek. Each group attacks in a different district of Neverwinter, as if the enemy knows your movements and plans, ambush points accordingly. You fight these assassins in the streets, in alleys, sometimes in more public areas, where innocent bystanders flee in terror from the sudden violence. Each battle is dangerous. Each could end your quest permanently if you make a mistake or if luck turns against you. But these attacks, while clearly intended to kill you and prevent the cure's completion, also provide vital information. On the bodies of the dead assassins, you find notes, written orders from their superiors. These notes are carefully worded to avoid revealing too much, but they contain clues nonetheless. References to a cult, mentions of gods whose names are unfamiliar or deliberately obscured. Instructions that suggest the conspiracy goes deeper than you imagined, that it involves people within Neverwinter's government and social structure, not just outside enemies. The notes speak of a traitor, someone in a position of trust and authority who works against Neverwinter from within. This revelation is perhaps the most disturbing of all. You have been assuming that the enemy is external, some rival city or evil organization that seeks to destroy Neverwinter for strategic or ideological reasons. The possibility that someone inside the city's leadership actively helps the plague spread transforms your understanding of the situation. If there is a traitor in a high position, then no one can be fully trusted. Information you share might reach the enemy. Plans you make might be countered before you can execute them. The very people you report to might be compromised. Despite these setbacks and revelations, you persevere. One by one, you recover all 4 watered Havian creature components. The intellect devourer sample from one district, the Yuan-Ti material from another, the cockatrice essence, the dryad's gift of natural magic. Each component required different challenges, different skills, different approaches to obtain. Together, they represent your journey through every part of Neverwinter, your exposure to all the ways the plague has affected the city and its people. When you finally deliver the last component to Lady Aribeth, you see hope kindle in her eyes for the first time since you met her. The components are not a cure by themselves, but they are the essential ingredients from which a cure can be synthesized. Aribeth immediately begins working with the city's alchemists and mages, combining the components according to formulas developed by water-deep scholars. The process is delicate and time-consuming, requiring precision and expertise that cannot be rushed. While the cure is being prepared, you share the evidence you have gathered with Aribeth, the notes from the assassins, your observations about suspicious activities in various districts, your growing certainty that a conspiracy much larger than anyone initially suspected is at work. Aribeth listens carefully, her expression growing darker as you speak. She has harbored her own suspicions, noticed her own irregularities in how events have unfolded. Your evidence confirms her fears and adds new dimensions to the threat. The cure, when finally completed, is distributed as quickly as possible to plague victims throughout Neverwinter. The results are immediate and dramatic. People who were at death's door, who had been wailing in agony and waiting only for the end, begin to recover. The terrible lesions heal. The fever breaks. The screaming stops. Not everyone can be saved. Those too far gone, whose bodies have been too damaged by the plague's ravages, die despite the cure. But thousands survive who would otherwise have perished. The city erupts in celebration after weeks of fear and death, of watching helplessly as the wailing death claimed victim after victim. The people of Neverwinter have been given their lives back. Church bells ring. People embrace in the streets. Families reunite with members they thought lost. The mood transforms overnight from despair to joy, from resignation to hope. You are hailed as a hero, the adventurer who braved the dangers of every district and recovered the components that made the cure possible. But you cannot fully join in the celebration. The evidence you gathered haunts you. The conspiracy is not defeated. The enemy's purpose has not been fully revealed. The wailing death was a weapon, a deliberate attack on Neverwinter. And while you have blunted that weapon, you have not destroyed those who wielded it. The war is not over. The first battle has been won, but greater conflicts lie ahead. The notes from the assassins, the references to cults and traitors, point toward revelations that will shake Neverwinter to its foundations. Lady Aribeth shares your concerns. She knows that finding the cure for the wailing death is only the beginning. Now comes the harder task of identifying the enemy, uncovering the full scope of their plans, and stopping them before they can unleash some new horror upon the city. She asks you to continue your investigation, to follow the leads you have gathered, to pursue the conspiracy wherever it leads. You agree without hesitation. You have come too far, seen too much suffering, to stop now. The people of Neverwinter deserve justice. They deserve to know who did this to them and why. And most importantly, they deserve to be protected from whatever comes next. Section 3. The Road to Luskan and Investigation. The cure for the Wailing death brings temporary relief to Neverwinter. But the evidence you gathered during your search for the watered Havian creatures demands further investigation. Lady Aribeth de Tilmarand knows that finding the cure addressed only the symptom, not the disease itself. Someone created the Wailing death deliberately. Someone unleashed it upon Neverwinter with malicious intent. The notes taken from the assassins who hunted you speak of a cult, of plans that extend beyond the plague, of forces gathering in the north. Until these enemies are identified and destroyed, Neverwinter remains in terrible danger. Lord Nashor Lagandar convenes a council to determine the next course of action. You attend this council alongside Aribeth, Arin Jend the Paladin Scholar, and other trusted advisors to the Lord of Neverwinter. The evidence is laid out and examined carefully. References to cult activities, mentions of locations north of the city, names that appear repeatedly in captured correspondence. The pattern points inexorably toward Luskan, the city of sails, Neverwinter's rival, and sometime enemy located further up the Sword Coast. Luskan has a reputation that makes even hardened adventurers cautious. Unlike Neverwinter with its gardens and culture, Luskan embraces a rougher character. Pirates, smugglers, thieves, and mercenaries find welcome in Luskan's taverns and brothels. The city operates under the control of 5 high captains, powerful individuals who each command their own private army and compete ruthlessly for influence and profit. The Arcane Brotherhood, a society of wizards with questionable ethics and dangerous ambitions, maintains the host tower of the Arcane within Luskan, adding magical power to the city's already formidable martial strength. The decision is made. You will travel north to investigate the cult's presence in Luskan and the surrounding territories. This is not a military expedition. Neverwinter cannot afford open war with Luskan, particularly not when the city is still recovering from the plague. Instead, you will operate quietly, gathering intelligence and evidence that might reveal the cult's identity and intentions. Aribeth will accompany you along with Arin Jend, lending their expertise and authority to the mission. A small group can move more quickly and attract less attention than an army. The journey north from Neverwinter takes you first to Port Last, a smaller settlement that serves as a waypoint between the 2 major cities. Port Last exists primarily to support travelers and merchants moving along the high road. Inns, stables, supply shops, and a garrison of soldiers provide the services that caravans and adventurers require. The settlement has an uneasy relationship with both Neverwinter and Luskan, trying to maintain profitable connections with both while avoiding entanglement in their rivalries. You establish your base of operations in Port Last at the local Temple of Tyr. From here, you begin investigating the surrounding countryside, searching for concrete evidence of cult activity. The territory north of Neverwinter is less settled than the lands to the south. Farms exist, but they are scattered and isolated. Forests press close to the roads. Ancient ruins dot the landscape, remnants of earlier civilizations that rose and fell before humans came to dominate the Sword Coast. These ruins attract treasure seekers, but also serve as hiding places for bandits, monsters, and apparently cultists. Your investigation takes you through multiple areas surrounding Port Last. The Green Griffin Inn on the North Road serves as a gathering place for travelers, and you find valuable information by simply listening to conversations and speaking with the patrons. Stories circulate of strange activities in the wilderness. Merchants report being ambushed by organized groups that seem more interested in preventing travel than in stealing goods. Locals speak of seeing lights and hearing chanting from ruins that should be abandoned. In the Eastern Territories, you encounter an archaeologist named Fenthic, who studies the ancient structures scattered throughout the region. Fenthic proves to be a man of genuine scholarship and courage. He shares his knowledge of the ruins, explaining their origins and the peoples who built them. More importantly, he has noticed unusual activity at some of the sites he studies. Artifacts have gone missing. Areas that were empty now show signs of recent occupation. Someone is using these ancient places for contemporary purposes, and those purposes appear to be neither scholarly nor benign. The wilderness between Port Last and Luskan harbors numerous dangers beyond the cult you seek. Orcs raid from their mountain strongholds, attacking farms and ambushing travelers. Ogres make their homes in caves and forests, preying on anyone unlucky enough to cross their path. Undead rise from old battlefields, animated by residual necromantic energy or by deliberate magic. Each journey into the countryside brings combat, forcing you to remain constantly vigilant and ready for violence. During your explorations, you are ambushed multiple times by individuals who clearly know who you are and what you are investigating. A halfling named Solomon approaches you initially with false friendship, offering a magical ring as a gift. Later, he reveals this was a ruse to track your movements, and he attacks with hired mercenaries, attempting to end your investigation permanently. You encounter and defeat Solomon, finding correspondence on his body that links him directly to the cult you seek. Another ambush comes from a wizard named Vardok, who attacks you on the roads with magical and martial force. Vardok proves more formidable than Solomon, wielding spells that test your defenses and tactics. The battle is fierce, but ultimately you prevail. Vardok's body yields another piece of evidence, a letter that provides additional details about the cult's organization and objectives. A woman named Neva also attempts to kill you, though her initial approach comes through deception rather than direct assault. Each of these encounters reinforces that the cult considers you a serious threat worth eliminating. Beyond these assassination attempts, you uncover evidence through more traditional investigation. Exploring ruins, you find cult encampments where worshippers gather to perform rituals. The altars they use and the symbols they employ reveal that this cult venerates the old ones, ancient entities of malevolent power that existed before the current gods rose to dominance. The old ones represent forces of chaos, destruction, and madness. Their worship is outlawed throughout most of Faerun, and those who follow them typically operate in secrecy, knowing that discovery means death or imprisonment. In one particularly significant discovery, you penetrate deep into a corrupted forest where a spirit of nature has been twisted and enslaved by cult magic. The spirit of the wood, once a benevolent guardian of its domain, now serves as an unwilling tool of the cultists. You can choose to destroy the spirit or to attempt to free it from the magical bindings that corrupt it. Either way, you find evidence among the cultists at this location that provides more pieces of the puzzle you are assembling. The evidence accumulates, each piece adding weight to the conclusion that Luskan serves as the cult's primary base of operations. You gather journals written by cult members detailing their activities. You recover letters sent between different cells of the organization. You find documents that reference the Wailing death specifically, confirming beyond doubt that the plague was deliberately created and deployed against Neverwinter. The casual cruelty of these documents is chilling. The cult members write of mass death as if discussing a successful business transaction, showing no remorse or even awareness that they have committed an atrocity. When you have gathered at least 2 or 3 credible pieces of evidence, you return to Port Last to report to Lady Aribeth. She examines what you have found with growing anger and determination. The evidence confirms what she suspected, but removes all doubt. The cult operates out of Luskan, and the time has come to bring the fight directly to them. She instructs you to speak with Arin Jend about the next phase of the operation. Arin Jend has been conducting his own research, using his scholarly skills to supplement your field investigation. He explains the challenge you face. Luskan is not like the districts of Neverwinter, where you could move relatively freely. The city is currently in a state of near civil war, as the High Captains fight among themselves for supremacy. Only 2 of the 5 original High Captains remain in power. High Captain Baram and High Captain Kurth have destroyed or absorbed the other 3 factions, and now they battle each other for total control of Luskan. Their private armies clash in the streets, making the city extremely dangerous for anyone not aligned with one side or the other. More problematic is the host tower of the Arcane, the fortress of the Arcane Brotherhood, where the cult appears to have its ultimate headquarters. The host tower is one of the most secure locations in the entire north. Powerful magical wards protect it. The wizards of the Arcane Brotherhood, while not necessarily cult members themselves, guard their territory jealously and admit no one without proper authorization. You cannot simply fight your way into the host tower. You need legitimate credentials, documents that will convince the guards that you have official business within. Arin proposes a plan. If you can obtain a High Captain's seal, the official mark that the High Captains use to authenticate important documents, he can forge the diplomatic papers needed to gain entry to the host tower. It is a risky plan built on deception, but given the alternatives, it represents the best chance of success. You must travel to Luskan, navigate the civil war raging within its walls, obtain a High Captain's seal through whatever means necessary, and then use forged documents to infiltrate the very center of enemy power. Before departing for Luskan, you ensure that all your affairs in the Port Last region are settled. You complete any outstanding quests, gather remaining supplies, and prepare yourself mentally for what lies ahead. The journey into Luskan is one way. Once you enter the city, you will not be able to return to this area until your mission is complete. Every preparation you make now might mean the difference between success and failure, between life and death. The road north from Port Last to Luskan passes through increasingly hostile territory. You travel with Aribeth and Arin, their presence providing both additional combat capability and moral support. The three of you represent Neverwinter's response to the cult, a small team pitting themselves against an organization that has already demonstrated the power to devastate an entire city. The weight of this responsibility is substantial, but you have come too far to turn back now. You reach the gates of Luskan and encounter your first challenge immediately. A sergeant guards the entrance, and under normal circumstances, he would question travelers extensively before allowing them to enter. However, these are not normal circumstances. The sergeant is overwhelmed by the chaos within Luskan and seems almost relieved to have visitors who might help restore order. He permits you to enter, warning you about the fighting between the High Captain's forces that makes the streets dangerous. The moment you step through the gates, the reality of Luskan's civil war becomes apparent. The sounds of combat echo from multiple directions. Buildings show damage from fighting. Bodies lie in the streets, casualties of the factional warfare that consumes the city. Soldiers wearing the colors of High Captain Baram clash with those loyal to High Captain Kurth. Civilians cower in their homes or flee through the streets, trying to avoid being caught in the crossfire. A fighter named Beggar engages in battle with enemy soldiers almost immediately upon your arrival. Beggar fights alone against multiple opponents, displaying impressive skill, but clearly outnumbered. You have a choice. You can help Beggar, establishing an ally within Luskan, or you can avoid involvement, preserving your strength for later challenges. If you choose to help, Beggar proves grateful and provides valuable information about the current state of Luskan and the war between the High Captains. You make your way through the dangerous streets to the Temple of Tyr, using your recall stone to transport directly there. and avoid unnecessary combat. Inside the temple, you find Arin Jend waiting for you, but Aribeth is not present. Arin's face shows concern as he explains that Lady Aribeth disappeared shortly after they arrived in Luskan. He does not know where she went or why she left without explanation. This development is troubling, but you cannot afford to search for her now. Your mission must take precedence. Arin reiterates your objective. Find a High Captain's seal and bring it to him so he can forge the documents needed to access the host tower. The two remaining High Captains, Baram and Kurth, each possess such a seal. You must involve yourself in Luskan's civil war, choosing to support one side or the other, or finding some alternative path to obtaining what you need. You explore Luskan carefully, learning the layout of a city very different from Neverwinter. The Cutlass Inn serves as a refuge for civilians caught in the fighting, offering a safe space where ordinary people try to wait out the war. You speak with the refugees there, hearing their stories of loss and fear, gaining perspective on how the High Captain's ambitions have devastated innocent lives. The Wink and Tickle brothel operates despite the chaos, providing entertainment and information to those who can pay. The workers here see and hear much, making them valuable sources of intelligence. You can cultivate contacts at the Wink and Tickle, trading favors and coin for knowledge about the High Captains, their strengths and weaknesses, and possible ways to obtain the seal you need. Luskan's sewers form a network beneath the city, providing passage between different areas while avoiding the street fighting above. The sewers are not pleasant, filled with waste, dangerous creatures, and the occasional criminal hideout, but they serve a practical purpose, allowing you to move through Luskan with somewhat reduced risk. Within the sewers, you also discover a strange contraption, a machine that a gnome named Kalmar refers to as a contratulator. If you possess the mechanical skill to repair this device, Kalmar rewards you with discounts and gratitude. The High Captains themselves prove to be complex individuals rather than simple villains. High Captain Baram maintains quarters accessible through the sewers, and you can speak with him directly if you choose. High Captain Kurth commands his forces from a different location. Both men believe they fight for Luskan's future, though their methods and visions differ. The Civil War is not a clear contest between good and evil, but rather a struggle between two powerful figures who refuse to share control. Through combat, negotiation, or cunning, you obtain a High Captain's seal. The exact method depends on your choices and approach, but ultimately you secure this critical item and return to Arin Jend at the Temple of Tyr. He takes the seal and works through the night, creating forged diplomatic papers that appear authentic enough to pass inspection. The forgery must be perfect. Any flaw will result in your immediate arrest or execution when you attempt to enter the host tower. When the documents are ready, you prepare yourself for the final approach. The host tower of the Arcane rises above Luskan like a finger, pointing accusingly at the sky. the wizards within command powers beyond most mortal comprehension. You will enter their stronghold carrying forged papers, searching for evidence of a conspiracy that reaches into the highest levels of power. If you are discovered before you find what you seek, there will be no escape. The host tower will become your tomb. You present your forged documents to the guard at the host tower gate. He examines them carefully, and for a moment, you wonder if Arin's forgery will be sufficient. Then the guard nods and steps aside, granting you entry. You have successfully penetrated the cult's headquarters. Now comes the truly dangerous work of discovering their plans and identifying their leaders before they realize they have been infiltrated. Everything you have done, every battle you have fought, every piece of evidence you have gathered has led to this moment. The truth awaits within the host tower, and with it, revelations that will change everything you thought you knew. Section 4. Desther's Betrayal and the Source Stone. Within the host tower of the arcane, you move carefully through corridors of stone and magic, your forged documents granting you access to areas that should remain forever beyond your reach. The tower's interior reflects the power and eccentricity of the arcane brotherhood. Magical lights illuminate hallways without need of torches or lanterns. Doors open and close of their own accord. The air itself tingles with ambient arcane energy, making the hair on your arms stand on end. You are surrounded by wizards whose power could reduce you to ash with a thought, yet they barely acknowledge your presence, assuming you belong here based on your papers. Your investigation within the host tower yields results quickly. You find records, correspondence between cult members that the arcane brotherhood's wizards never suspected existed within their own stronghold. The documents reveal a conspiracy far more extensive than anyone in Neverwinter imagined. The cult has infiltrated institutions throughout the north, placing agents in positions of trust and authority. They worship the Old Ones, ancient entities that existed before the current pantheon of gods established their dominance over Faerun. These Old Ones represent primordial forces of chaos and destruction, and their followers seek to bring about their return, no matter the cost, in mortal lives. Most devastating of all, you find evidence that names the cult's leader. Marag, they call her, the Queen of the Old Ones, a title that speaks to her ancient power and her role as the living embodiment of those primordial entities. The documents describe her as possessing the royal majesty and ancient power of the creator, races themselves, suggesting she is far more than merely human. Marag orchestrated the Wailing death from the beginning, creating the plague as both a weapon against Neverwinter and as part of a larger ritual whose full purpose remains unclear from the fragments of information you can safely access. You gather what evidence you can carry and make your way out of the host tower before your presence attracts unwanted attention. The return journey to port last proceeds without major incident, though you remain vigilant for ambushes. When you arrive at the Temple of Tyr, you find Arin Jend waiting anxiously for your return. You present him with the evidence you recovered, and his face grows increasingly grim as he examines the documents. This confirms his worst fears and adds new dimensions to the threat Neverwinter faces. Lady Aribeth has returned from whatever business took her away, and she joins the discussion of what you discovered. The three of you analyze the evidence, trying to determine the cult's next move and how best to counter it. Aribeth suggests returning to Neverwinter to present your findings to Lord Nasher and to coordinate a larger response. With concrete proof of the cult's existence and knowledge of their leadership, Neverwinter can now take decisive action. The journey back to Neverwinter should be a moment of triumph. You have successfully infiltrated the enemy's headquarters, gathered critical intelligence, and survived to deliver it. But as your group approaches the city, something feels wrong. Smoke rises from multiple locations within the walls. The guards at the gates appear disorganized and frightened. When you finally enter Neverwinter, the full scope of the disaster becomes clear. The city is under attack, not from an external army, but from within. Creatures summoned by dark magic roam the streets, attacking citizens and guards alike. Buildings burn. People flee in panic, their screams echoing through districts that so recently celebrated being saved from the Wailing death. The cure you recovered, the hope you restored, now seems like a cruel jest. The enemy has simply changed tactics, moving from plague to open assault. You fight your way through the chaos to Castle Never, where Lord Nasher coordinates the defense of his city. The castle itself shows signs of attack, its walls scarred by magic, and its defenders bloodied, but still fighting. You reach the throne room and find Lord Nasher in conference with his remaining advisors. The old lord looks exhausted, but remains unbowed, his determination to protect his people undiminished by the crisis. Before you can deliver your report, a figure enters the throne room flanked by guards. It is Desther Indelaine, head of Helm's Hold and a priest of the god Helm. Desther has been one of Lord Nasher's most trusted advisors throughout the plague crisis. He worked closely with Lady Aribeth to coordinate relief efforts. He is a man of apparent faith and dedication, respected by nobles and commoners alike. His presence in the throne room during this emergency seems natural and appropriate. But then Desther speaks, and his words shatter the world. He confesses, not with remorse or shame, but with pride. Desther Indelaine created the Wailing death. He unleashed it upon Neverwinter deliberately. He has been working with the cult of the Old Ones from the beginning, using his position of trust to sabotage defenses and feed information to the enemy. Every meeting he attended, every decision he influenced, every piece of advice he gave was calculated to weaken Neverwinter and advance the cult's agenda. The throne room erupts in chaos as guards move to arrest Desther, but the treacherous priest is not finished. He reveals that he has poisoned Lord Nasher, using a slow-acting toxin that has been administered over weeks. through the very food and drink meant to sustain the city's ruler. Nasher collapses, his aged body finally succumbing to the poison that has been systematically destroying him. Healers rush forward, but Desther's magic, or his knowledge of toxins, proves formidable. The healers can stabilize Lord Nasher, but cannot yet purge the poison from his system. Neverwinter's lord lies near death, and the city teeters on the brink of collapse. Desther attempts to flee using magic, teleporting away before guards can seize him. But he does not escape entirely. He is tracked to the Helmite sanctuary at Helm's Hold, the very institution he led, now revealed as a nest of corruption. You join the force sent to apprehend Desther, traveling swiftly to Helm's Hold before the traitor can disappear completely. At Helm's Hold, you discover the full extent of Desther's betrayal, the sanctuary that should have been dedicated to protecting travelers, and the innocent has been corrupted. The lower levels house prisoners, people who discovered too much about Desther's activities and were silenced. You fight through Desther's remaining followers, cultists who shed their disguises as priests and reveal their true allegiance to the Old Ones. You corner Desther in the depths of Helm's Hold. The traitor no longer pretends to be a holy man. He openly proclaims his faith in the Old Ones and mocks you for believing you can stop what has been set in motion. A battle ensues, Desther wielding both priestly magic and darker powers granted by his true masters. He summons creatures to aid him, casts spells meant to destroy or disable you, and fights with the fury of a fanatic who believes his cause justified. But in the end, Desther falls. You strike him down, and he dies still defiant, still certain that the Old Ones will rise, and that everything he did served a purpose greater than any mortal life. You take Desther's body back to Neverwinter as proof of his death and as evidence of his crimes. The city demands justice, and Lord Nasher, recovering slowly from the poison with the help of his finest healers, orders a public trial. The trial of Desther Indelain becomes a moment of catharsis for Neverwinter. The evidence of his betrayal is presented before the assembled citizens. Witnesses testify to his crimes. The full scope of his treachery is revealed, and with it comes a terrible reckoning. Desther is sentenced to death, and the sentence is carried out immediately. He is burned at the stake in the public square, his execution serving both as punishment and as a symbolic purging of the corruption he represented. But another tragedy unfolds in the aftermath of Desther's execution, one that strikes at the heart of Neverwinter's defenders. Lady Aribeth de Tilmarand, the paladin who has been your guide and ally throughout this entire crisis, must watch as her beloved faces his own trial. Fenthic Moss, a cleric of Tyr who worked alongside Aribeth during the plague, is discovered to have been one of Desther's associates, present at Helm's Hold. The evidence suggests Fenthic followed Desther there, attempting to make him recant his betrayal, hoping to save his former colleague from damnation. Based on your interactions with Fenthic during your investigation in the Port Last region, His scholarly nature and genuine faith likely made him vulnerable to manipulation by someone as cunning as Desther. The man appears to have been an innocent dupe rather than a willing participant in the conspiracy. But the city's rage demands victims, and the mob's justice rarely concerns itself with fine distinctions between guilt and innocence. Fenthic is tried and found guilty of criminal negligence for his association with Desther and for failing to detect the traitor's true nature. The letter of the law finds him negligent, and to appease the bloodthirsty mob still reeling from the plague's horrors, he is sentenced to death, despite Aribeth's desperate pleas for mercy. Despite her arguments that Fenthic acted in good faith and deserves imprisonment at most, the sentence is carried out. Fenthic is hanged, his execution a sacrifice meant to satisfy the population's need for vengeance. The execution of her beloved breaks something fundamental within Aribeth de Tilmarand. She served Tyr, the god of justice, with absolute devotion. She believed in the rule of law in fair trials, in the principle that the innocent deserve protection, and only the guilty should be punished. To see Fenthic executed for negligence rather than malice, to watch the man she loved die while the mob cheered, destroys her faith in the very concept of justice she dedicated her life to upholding. Aribeth renounces her paladin vows. She turns away from Tyr, declaring that a god who would allow such injustice is not worthy of worship. Her rejection of her oaths has immediate consequences. The divine powers she wielded as a paladin of Tyr abandon her. The holy connection she maintained with her god severs, leaving her empty and alone. In her grief and rage, Aribeth does the unthinkable. She allies with Morag and the cult of the Old Ones, joining the very enemies she fought against, becoming a traitor herself in service of revenge against the city that executed Fenthic. The news of Aribeth's betrayal strikes Neverwinter like a physical blow. She was a symbol of hope, a leader who inspired others through her courage and dedication. To learn that she has joined the enemy crushes morale and spreads despair. If even Lady Aribeth could turn traitor, who can be trusted? The social bonds that hold Neverwinter together strain under the weight of accumulated disasters. Lord Nasher, still weak from Desther's poison, but refusing to remain bedridden while his city suffers, calls you to Castle Never for consultation. Intelligence reports indicate that Morag and her cult have located an artifact of immense power called the Source Stone. This artifact dates back to the creator races, the ancient civilizations that dominated Faerun long before humans, elves, dwarves, or any of the current peoples rose to prominence. The creator races wielded magic and technology that modern civilizations can barely comprehend, and their artifacts retain terrible power even after millennia. The Source Stone was created by the creators to store and channel magical energy on a scale that defies comprehension. Morag intends to use the Source Stone to bring about the return of the Old Ones, to tear down the barriers between planes and and summon forth entities of primordial chaos. If she succeeds, the destruction will not be limited to Neverwinter or even the Sword Coast. The entire world faces the possibility of being unmade and reformed according to the twisted desires of beings that recognize no morality or mercy. To reach the Source Stone and confront Morag, you must first acquire the words of power. These are not merely spoken phrases, but rather crystallized concepts, fragments of the ancient magic that the creator races used to command reality itself. 4 words of power exist in locations scattered across the north. Each is guarded by powerful magic or dangerous creatures, ensuring that only someone of exceptional capability can claim them. Lord Nasher provides you with what information his scholars have gathered about the words of power locations. You must venture into ancient ruins, into places of death and forgotten magic, facing trials that will test every skill you have developed throughout your journey. This quest will take you away from Neverwinter for an extended period, and there is no guarantee you will survive to return. Your first destination is a tomb complex where one of the creator races, the Netherese, once experimented with binding powerful entities to serve as guardians. The tomb has remained sealed for thousands of years, its magic slowly decaying, but still formidable. You navigate trapped corridors and puzzle chambers designed to kill anyone who attempts to penetrate to the tomb's heart. The guardian you must face proves to be a creature of elemental power, bound by ancient oaths to protect the word of power in its keeping. The battle tests you severely, but ultimately you triumph and claim the first word. The second word of power rests in a tower that phases in and out of reality, existing partially in multiple planes simultaneously. Reaching the tower requires navigating a forest corrupted by planar energy, where the normal laws of nature no longer fully apply. Trees grow in impossible configurations. Water flows upward. Creatures that should not exist in the material plane hunt through the twisted landscape. You reach the tower and ascend its levels, facing guardians both magical and physical, until you reach the chamber where the word of power awaits. The third word lies beneath a frozen lake in the high mountains, hidden in caverns where ancient ice preserves structures from a civilization that fell so long ago that even its name has been lost. You must brave the cold, fight through creatures adapted to the eternal winter, and solve riddles left by long-dead mages. The word of power rests in a chamber of crystallized time, where moments have been frozen into physical form. Claiming it requires disrupting the temporal stasis, a dangerous act that could trap you in the same frozen moment forever if you miscalculate. The fourth and final word of power is guarded by a dragon, one of the great worms whose power rivals that of minor deities. The dragon makes its lair in a volcanic region, amid lava flows and toxic fumes that would kill lesser beings. You must either negotiate with the dragon, appealing to its intelligence and pride, or face it in combat, pitting your abilities against one of the most dangerous creatures in all of Faerun. Either path requires courage and skill, but ultimately you succeed, adding the final word of power to your collection. With all 4 words of power in your possession, you return to Neverwinter and report to Lord Nashor. The old lord has recovered much of his strength, and he has prepared Neverwinter's defenses as best he can against whatever Morag plans. But the final confrontation must take place at the Source Stone itself. Lord Nashor cannot send an army to this battle. The Source Stone exists in a pocket dimension, accessible only through special portals that limit how many people can pass through at once. You must go alone, or with only a small group of trusted companions. You will face Morag, confront Aribeth one final time, and either stop the ritual that threatens to end the world or die trying. There is no middle ground, no possibility of partial victory. Either you succeed completely or everything ends. The portal to the Source Stone is activated through an ancient pedestal in Castle Never, a device left behind by the creator races and maintained through the centuries by mages who understood only fragments of its true purpose. You place the 4 words of power into the pedestal's receptacles, and the portal blazes to life, a swirling vortex of energy that leads to a place outside normal reality. You step through the portal, leaving Neverwinter behind, carrying with you the hopes of everyone who depends on your success. The Source Stone awaits, and with it, the final battle that will determine the fate of the world. Section 5. The final battle and Aribeth's fate. The portal deposits you in a place that exists outside the normal flow of reality. The Source Stone Sanctuary stretches before you, a vast complex built by the creator races in an age so distant that the current civilizations of Faerun were not even conceived. The architecture defies understanding. Walls curve in geometries that hurt to look at directly. Passages lead in directions that should not exist. The air itself feels different here, thicker somehow, charged with magical energy so concentrated that it manifests as visible distortions in your vision. The creator races built the Source Stone to serve as a repository and focusing device for magical power on a scale that modern mages can barely comprehend, where a contemporary wizard might channel enough energy to level a building. The Source Stone was designed to channel enough power to reshape continents, to alter the fundamental laws that govern reality itself. The ancient builders placed safeguards and restrictions on the stone's use, recognizing the catastrophic danger it represented if misused. But those safeguards have weakened over the millennia, and Morag has spent years learning how to bypass what remains. You advance through the sanctuary carefully, knowing that danger awaits at every turn. The complex is not entirely abandoned. Guardians left by the creator races still patrol certain areas, constructs of magic and matter that recognize only one imperative after all these centuries: protect the Source Stone. Allow no unauthorized access. These guardians attack with mechanical precision, lacking any capacity for negotiation or mercy. They are not alive in any meaningful sense, but they are deadly nonetheless, wielding powers that combine magic and technology in ways that modern civilization has forgotten. The corridors branch and twist, creating a maze designed to confuse and deter intruders. You must navigate using both your physical skills and your understanding of magic. Some passages are sealed by wards that require specific spells or items to bypass. Others contain traps, both mechanical and magical, that trigger if you make a wrong move. You see evidence of Morag's passage through the sanctuary. Guardians lie destroyed, their remains scattered across the floor. Wards have been forcibly broken, leaving residual magical scarring on the walls. She came through here with power and purpose, caring nothing for the damage she caused to this ancient place. As you penetrate deeper into the sanctuary, you encounter members of Morag's cult. These are not the assassins or thugs you fought in earlier encounters. These are the cult's elite, its most devoted and dangerous members. They wear robes marked with symbols of the old ones, and they wield magic drawn from pacts with entities that predate the current gods. The cultists fight with fanatical intensity, believing that they serve a cause greater than their individual lives. They know that the ritual Morag performs will unmake the world as it currently exists. But they welcome this destruction, seeing it as necessary to bring about the return of their ancient masters. You fight your way through these cultists, each battle testing your abilities and consuming your resources. Healing potions are used, spells are expended, your weapons and armor take damage, but you press forward because there is no alternative. Turning back means condemning the world to whatever Morag plans to unleash. You must reach the Source Stone Chamber, must confront the cult's leader, and stop the ritual. No matter the personal cost, the sanctuary's inner areas show increasing signs of the ritual's progress. Reality itself begins to fray at the edges. You see glimpses of other places, other dimensions, bleeding through into the material world. Creatures that should not exist flicker in and out of visibility, drawn by the magical energies Morag is manipulating. The temperature fluctuates wildly, sometimes freezing cold and moments later burning hot. Sound behaves strangely, with echoes arriving before the original noise, with voices whispering words in languages that hurt to hear. Finally, you reach the Guardian's lair, the penultimate chamber before the Source Stone itself. Here, the Creator races placed their most powerful defensive measure. A Guardian of immense power awaits, a being created specifically to prevent unauthorized use of the Source Stone. This is not a mindless construct, but rather an intelligent entity, bound by ancient oaths to fulfill its duty regardless of the passage of time. The Guardian recognizes you as an intruder and attacks immediately. The battle that follows is perhaps the most difficult you have faced in your entire journey. The Guardian wields multiple forms of magic simultaneously, adapting its tactics based on your actions. It summons lesser creatures to aid it. It teleports around the chamber, striking from unexpected angles. It employs both direct damage spells and more subtle magics that weaken your defenses or cloud your mind. You must use everything you have learned, every skill you have developed, every item you have carefully preserved for this moment. The chamber itself becomes a hazard during the battle. The Guardian's attacks and your responses cause secondary effects. Pillars crack and collapse. Energy discharges arc across the room, damaging anything in their path. The floor becomes unstable in places, threatening to give way beneath your feet. You cannot simply focus on offense or defense. You must manage the entire battlefield, positioning yourself advantageously while avoiding environmental dangers. But through skill, determination, and perhaps a measure of luck, you prevail. The Guardian falls, its form dissipating as the magic that sustained it for countless ages finally releases. The way to the Source Stone Chamber stands open. You take a moment to recover what strength you can, to prepare yourself mentally for what you know awaits beyond the next threshold. Then you advance, stepping through the final doorway into the heart of the sanctuary. The Source Stone Chamber is a vast circular space, its ceiling lost in darkness far above. At the center of the chamber rises the Source Stone itself, a crystalline structure that pulses with inner light. The stone is beautiful and terrible simultaneously, mesmerizing to look at yet painful to observe for too long. Power radiates from it in waves, making your skin tingle and your hair stand on end. This is what Morag has sought. This is the tool she plans to use to unmake the world. And there, standing before the Source Stone, you see her, Morag, the Queen of the Old Ones, the architect of the Wailing Death, the leader of the cult that has caused so much suffering. She is not what you expected. Where you might have anticipated a monster or a clearly evil figure, you instead see a woman of striking appearance and obvious intelligence. Morag carries herself with confidence born of power and knowledge. She has studied for decades, perhaps centuries, learning the secrets needed to command the Source Stone. She has orchestrated events across multiple cities, manipulating people and institutions to serve her goals. She is formidable in ways that go far beyond simple magical ability. Standing beside Morag is Lady Aribeth de Tilmarand. The sight of her cuts deeply. Aribeth was your ally, your guide, your inspiration throughout much of this journey. To see her now in the service of your enemy, wearing armor that has been corrupted from its original holy appearance, represents the ultimate tragedy of this entire crisis. Aribeth's face shows the toll her choices have taken. The grief and rage that drove her to betray everything she once believed in remain visible in her eyes. She is a paladin who has fallen not because of greed or lust for power, but because her faith in justice was broken by witnessing injustice triumph. Morag acknowledges your arrival with apparent pleasure. She has been expecting you, and indeed, your presence serves her purposes. The ritual she performs requires certain components, and your arrival provides one of them. You carry the words of power, the crystallized concepts of ancient magic that the creator races used to shape reality. Morag needs those words to complete her work, to break down the final barriers that separate the material world from the realms where the old ones wait. She offers you a choice, speaking with calm reason rather than ranting or threats. Join her. Help bring about the return of the old ones. In exchange, you will be spared when the world is remade. You will be given a place of honor in the new order that emerges from the chaos. Your friends, your loved ones, anyone you choose to name can be protected. All you must do is surrender the words of power and step aside while she completes the ritual. You refuse. How could you not? Everything you have seen, everything you have fought for, demands that you oppose Morag regardless of the personal consequences. The Wailing death killed thousands of innocent people. The cult's schemes have devastated Neverwinter and threatened the entire Sword Coast. The old ones, if they return, will not create some glorious new world. They will bring only suffering and destruction, remaking reality according to their alien desires, with no regard for the mortal beings caught in the transformation. Morag accepts your refusal without apparent anger. She had not truly expected you to agree, but the offer had to be made. Now, there is only one path forward. She commands Aribeth to kill you, and the former paladin obeys, drawing her sword and advancing with the skill that made her a legendary warrior. The battle with Aribeth is heartbreaking. She fights with all the ability she possessed as a paladin, even though she has lost access to Tyr's divine power. Her swordsmanship remains flawless. Her tactical understanding allows her to anticipate your moves and counter them. But more than the physical challenge, fighting Aribeth tears at your soul. This is someone who saved your life, who mentored you, who represented an ideal of heroism that inspired you to become more than you were. To raise your weapon against her feels like a betrayal, even though you know she betrayed you first. During the battle, you can try to reason with Aribeth, to reach whatever remains of the woman she once was beneath the grief and rage. You can speak of Fenthic, reminding her that he would not want her to sacrifice herself and the world for vengeance. You can appeal to her memories of serving Tyr, of fighting to protect the innocent. You can acknowledge that she suffered an injustice, that Fenthic's execution was wrong, but argue that becoming a monster herself does not honor his memory or make his death meaningful. Whether your words reach her or whether the battle simply reaches its inevitable conclusion, Aribeth eventually falls. She collapses to the chamber floor, her strength finally exhausted. In that moment, lying wounded and defeated, something shifts in her eyes. The madness that has driven her since Fenthic's death recedes, and for a moment, you see the real Aribeth again. She recognizes what she has become, understands the enormity of what she has done. Tears stream down her face as she begs for forgiveness, though she knows she does not deserve it. You face a choice then, one of the most difficult decisions in your entire journey. you can execute Aribeth, ending her life and ensuring she can never again threaten Neverwinter or anyone else. This would be justice of a sort, the same harsh justice that demanded Fenthic's death. Or you can show mercy, can offer Aribeth the compassion that the mob denied to her beloved. You can choose to believe that redemption is possible, that even someone who has fallen as far as she might find a path back to the light. Your decision here reflects what kind of person you have become through all these trials, whether you have learned that mercy can be as important as justice. Regardless of your choice concerning Aribeth, Morag observes with detached interest. She has been using the time you spent fighting to advance her ritual, and now it approaches completion. The source stone pulses with increasing intensity. The barriers between dimensions grow thin. You can feel the presence of something vast and alien pressing against reality, trying to force its way through. The old ones sense that the way is being opened for them, and they gather their strength to enter the world that has been denied to them for eons. You turn your attention to Morag herself, knowing that she must be stopped immediately or everything ends. She stands at the source stone, one hand resting on its crystalline surface, her lips moving in an endless chant of words that predate human language. Power flows through her and into the stone, and from the stone outward into reality itself, tearing at the fundamental structures that keep the dimensions separate. The final battle begins. Morag proves to be everything you feared and more. She wields magic of devastating power, drawing on energies channeled through the source stone itself. She summons creatures from other dimensions to fight alongside her. She manipulates the chamber's environment, causing sections of floor to vanish or walls to shift position. She employs both direct attacks meant to destroy you quickly and more insidious magics designed to weaken you over time. You must fight not just Morag, but also the ritual itself. The longer the battle continues, the closer the ritual comes to completion. You can feel reality fraying around you. The walls of the chamber begin to fade, revealing glimpses of the dimensions beyond. Colors appear that have no names. Sounds assault your ears that no natural source could produce. The pressure builds until you feel that the world itself might shatter like glass, subjected to too much stress. The battle tests you more severely than anything you have faced before. You use every potion, every scroll, every item you have carefully collected throughout your journey. Your companions, if you brought any, fight with desperate courage, knowing that this is where everything ends one way or another. The chamber becomes a maelstrom of magical energies, of conflicting forces that tear at anything caught between them. But ultimately, through skill and determination, and perhaps divine favor, you prevail. Morag falls, her mortal form unable to withstand the damage you inflict. As she dies, her control over the source stone ritual breaks. The magical energies she was channeling backlash catastrophically. The stone itself cracks, unable to contain the forces Morag tried to command. The ritual collapses, and with it, the doorway to the old ones slams shut, trapping them once more in the dimensions where they have been confined since the current age began. The sanctuary shakes as the source stone's failure sends shockwaves through the entire structure. The creator races built well, but even their constructions cannot withstand the strain of a failed ritual of this magnitude. You must flee immediately or be entombed here forever. You run through collapsing corridors, dodging falling debris and magical discharges. Behind you, the sanctuary tears itself apart, erasing the evidence of both the ancient builders and Morag's attempt to misuse their creation. You reach the portal chamber just as the final collapse begins. Diving through the portal, you return to Castle Neverwinter, emerging into the throne room where Lord Nasher and his advisors wait anxiously. The portal behind you flickers and dies, severed from the sanctuary by that location's destruction. You have succeeded. The source stone is destroyed. Morag is dead. The threat of the Old One's return has been averted. Neverwinter erupts in celebration once news of your victory spreads. The city has survived plague, betrayal, and the threat of ultimate destruction. The people's joy and relief manifest in spontaneous festivals throughout the districts. Lord Nasher personally thanks you, acknowledging that without your courage and skill, everything would have been lost. You are named a Hero of Neverwinter, granted honors and rewards befitting someone who saved not just a city, but potentially the entire world. Yet even in triumph, questions remain. The cult of the Old Ones extended beyond Morag's immediate followers. Cells of cultists still exist throughout the north, their members scattered but not destroyed. Aribeth's fate, whether execution or redemption, haunts those who remember what she once represented. The scars left by the Wailing death, both physical and psychological, will take years to fully heal. Neverwinter stands victorious, but changed forever by what it has endured. Your legend, however, is just beginning. The defeat of Morag and the salvation of Neverwinter spread your name across the Sword Coast and beyond. Other cities, other nations, other peoples hear of your deeds and begin to speak of you as one of the great heroes of the age. Your adventures in Neverwinter form the foundation of a legend that will grow in the years ahead, taking you to places even more strange and dangerous than what you have already experienced. Section 6. Beyond the original tale, Shadows and Hordes expansions. Your legend does not end with the defeat of Morag and the salvation of Neverwinter. The reputation you earned through those harrowing trials spreads across Faerun, carried by bards and merchants, whispered in taverns, and shouted in marketplaces. Your name becomes synonymous with courage and capability, and this fame brings new opportunities and new dangers. The expansions to your story take you to places even more exotic and perilous than what you encountered in Neverwinter, pushing your abilities to their absolute limits and beyond. The tale continues in a small village far from Neverwinter, where an elderly dwarf named Drogan Droganson maintains a modest tower and takes on apprentices to pass along his accumulated knowledge. Drogon is not a powerful archmage whose name echoes through history. He is instead a competent and dedicated scholar who has spent decades studying magic and collecting artifacts of interest. His tower houses a small but significant collection of items, each with its own history and power. More importantly, Drogon possesses genuine skill as a teacher, able to take raw talent and shape it into true expertise. You find yourself as one of Drogon's apprentices, along with several others who study different aspects of magic and combat. The reasons for your presence here vary depending on your own path. Perhaps you seek additional training to supplement what you learned in Neverwinter. Perhaps you wish to study under a master without the pressure and politics of larger institutions. Perhaps you simply need a place to rest and recover after your earlier adventures. Regardless of your motivations, you settle into the rhythm of study and practice that defines life as Drogon's student. The peace of this arrangement shatters when Drogon's tower comes under attack. Mysterious assailants, working with coordination and clear purpose, assault the tower while Drogon and his apprentices sleep. These are not random bandits or opportunistic thieves. They target specific items from Drogon's collection, stealing 4 artifacts that your master had been studying. During the attack, Drogon is gravely wounded, struck down by magic that leaves him clinging to life by the thinnest of threads. You discover the aftermath when you wake to find the tower in disarray and your master lying in a pool of blood. Drogon lives, but barely. His breathing comes shallow and labored. His skin has taken on a deathly pallor. The magic that wounded him carries a curse, a dark enchantment that prevents normal healing from taking full effect. Without intervention, Drogon will die within days, and nothing you or your fellow apprentices can do will save him. Before losing consciousness, Drogon manages to communicate vital information. The stolen artifacts were not merely valuable collectibles. They are components of something far more dangerous, pieces that when assembled grant access to powers that should remain locked away. The thieves who took them work for someone with knowledge and ambition, someone who understands what these artifacts can do when properly combined. Drogon tasks you, his most capable apprentice, with recovering the stolen artifacts and stopping whoever seeks to misuse them. More personally, he believes that the curse afflicting him can only be lifted by magic connected to the artifacts themselves. Recovering them might provide the key to saving his life. Your investigation begins in the village and the surrounding countryside. You question witnesses, examine the scene of the attack for clues, and slowly piece together information about the assailants. The trail leads you to an organization of kobolds, the small draconic creatures that typically serve as nuisances rather than serious threats. But these kobolds are different. They are organized, equipped with quality weapons and armor, and commanded by a fearsome red dragon named Timefarer. The kobolds operate from a series of caves and tunnels in the nearby hills, having established a significant presence in the region under their draconic master's direction. As you penetrate the Kobold Warren, you encounter one of the most unexpected allies of your adventuring career. Deacon is a kobold bard who has fled from service under Timefarar, a member of his species who broke from traditional roles to pursue music and storytelling. Deacon is small, easily frightened, and completely out of place in a combat situation. He also possesses genuine courage beneath his nervous exterior, a quick mind, and loyalty to those who treat him with respect. Deacon has been serving the kobold's leader under duress, forced to use his skills on behalf of someone he fears and dislikes. You can choose to help Deacon escape his situation, and if you do, he becomes your companion for the adventures ahead. His bardic abilities prove surprisingly useful, providing support through songs and stories that bolster your abilities while weakening enemies. More than his mechanical contributions to combat, Deacon adds a unique perspective to your journey. He is writing a book about your adventures, recording events from the viewpoint of someone who sees heroism from the outside looking in. His observations, while sometimes naive, often cut to profound truths about the nature of courage and sacrifice. The pursuit of the stolen artifacts takes you across varied terrain and through numerous challenges. One artifact leads you to ancient ruins where undead guardians protect secrets buried for centuries. Another takes you into a desert region where the heat and harsh conditions prove as dangerous as any enemy. The desert portion of your journey introduces you to the edges of Anarok, one of the great deserts of Faerun, a wasteland created by ancient magical catastrophes that transformed fertile land into endless sand and scorching sun. Within Anarok, you discover a community that has adapted to the desert's challenges, a group that has found ways to survive in conditions that would kill most within days. You also encounter the true scope of the conspiracy you are unraveling. The one who orchestrated the theft of Drogon's artifacts is a powerful sorceress named Herodes, and her ambitions extend far beyond simple theft or even personal power. Herodes has discovered the location of an ancient Netherese artifact called the Mythaller, a magical device of immense power that once kept entire flying cities aloft and provided energy for civilizations long vanished. She orchestrated the theft of Drogon's artifacts because they form keys needed to access the Mythaller. Her ultimate plan involves raising the ancient Netherese flying city of Undrentide from where it has lain buried beneath the sands for thousands of years. With the Mythaller's power and a flying city under her command, Herodes believes she can dominate all of Faerun, establishing herself as a new power that rivals even the greatest nations. Your quest culminates in an assault on a tower rising from the desert sands, a structure that serves as Herodes' headquarters and provides access to the buried city below. The tower is defended by magic, monsters, and devoted followers willing to die to prevent your interference. You fight your way up through the tower's levels, each floor presenting new challenges and revealing more about the plan you are trying to thwart. At the tower's summit, you confront Herodes herself. The battle tests all the skills you have developed, forcing you to employ tactics and abilities you have refined through your journey. The sorceress wields devastating magic, drawing on power from the mythaller she seeks to control. She summons creatures to aid her, casts spells that warp reality around you, and fights with the confidence of someone who believes victory is inevitable, but you prove her wrong. Through skill and determination, you defeat Herodes, recovering the stolen artifacts and obtaining the materials needed to lift the curse from Drogon. Your master's life is saved, and the threat posed by raising Undrentide is neutralized. The mythaller remains buried, its power denied to those who would misuse it. Yet the adventure has revealed to you that threats exist far beyond what you encountered in Neverwinter, that the world contains dangers operating on scales that dwarf individual cities or regions. This realization proves prophetic when your next great challenge emerges. You are drawn into events that begin in the great city of Waterdeep and quickly descend, quite literally, into the depths beneath the world's surface. Undermountain, the legendary mega-dungeon beneath Waterdeep, serves as your entry point into a journey that will take you through the Underdark itself. The vast network of caverns and passages that exists miles below the surface world. The Underdark is alien in ways that surface dwellers struggle to comprehend. Entire civilizations exist down here, races that have never seen sunlight and have no desire to do so. Drow elves maintain their cruel cities in the depths, practicing a society built on betrayal, slavery, and worship of Lolt, the Spider Queen. Mind flayers, the Illithids, cultivate communities of dominated thralls to serve their inscrutable purposes. Duergar dwarves, the grey dwarves who were corrupted and twisted from their surface cousins, forge weapons and wage wars in caverns lit by fungal luminescence rather than sun or stars. You navigate this underworld carefully, learning quickly that the rules of the surface do not apply here. Showing weakness invites attack. Demonstrating strength earns temporary respect, but also marks you as a threat. The political landscape shifts constantly as various factions maneuver against each other in conflicts that span centuries. You are an outsider, a surface dweller in a realm where that alone marks you as prey or fool, or both. Your journey through the Underdark is not random wandering, but rather a pursuit of a specific threat. The Drow have been conducting raids on the surface with increasing frequency and boldness. Whole communities have been attacked, their populations dragged down into the depths to serve as slaves or worse. The one coordinating these raids is the Valshares, a Drow matron of immense power and ambition who rules over one of the Dark Elves' great cities. The Valshares is not content with the traditional Drow practice of raiding for slaves and resources. she has conceived a plan far more grandiose and dangerous. She seeks to conquer the surface world entirely, to lead a drow army up from the depths, and subjugate all the peoples who live beneath the sun. To accomplish this impossible goal, the Valshares needs power beyond what even a drow matron typically commands. She has made pacts with entities from the lower planes, bargaining with devils and demons for the magical might needed to equip and lead her army. Most significantly, she has enslaved Mephistopheles, one of the archdevils who rules a layer of the 9 hells. Through ancient magic and powerful bindings, she has forced this being of terrible intelligence and power to serve her purposes, using his knowledge and abilities to strengthen her position. But Mephistopheles is an archdevil ancient beyond mortal comprehension, a being who has survived and thrived through countless eons by being smarter and more cunning than his enemies. While the Valshares believes she controls him, the truth is far more complex. The archdevil has been manipulating events from within his imprisonment, working toward his own freedom and his own goals. The Valshares is merely one piece in a game played across multiple planes of existence, and she does not realize that she is as much a pawn as a player. Your mission is to stop the Valshares before her plans reach fruition, to prevent the drow invasion of the surface world, and to break whatever alliances she has forged with the lower planes. This task requires you to infiltrate drow society, to navigate the treacherous politics of the Dark Elves, where betrayal is not just common, but expected. You form uneasy alliances with various factions who have their own reasons for opposing the Valshares. Some seek to replace her with a different ruler. Others want to prevent a war they believe the drow cannot win. A few genuinely wish to protect the surface world, though these are rare in the Underdark. Deacon accompanies you if he survived your earlier adventure, his perspective as an outsider providing both comic relief and surprising wisdom. Other companions join you as well, each bringing their own skills and motivations. The bonds you form in the depths prove crucial, as the challenges you face cannot be overcome alone. You battle through drow cities, where every shadow might conceal an assassin. You negotiate with mind flayers, whose alien psychology makes communication difficult and dangerous. You survive encounters with creatures so bizarre that the surface world has no names for them. The campaign against the Valshares builds to a confrontation in her throne room, where you face not just the drow matron, but also the forces she has gathered to defend her. The battle is epic in scope, testing every ability you possess. Magical attacks fill the air. Summoned creatures clash with your allies. The Valshares herself proves to be a spellcaster of devastating power, wielding magic that can reshape reality itself within limited boundaries. But even defeating the Valshares does not end your trials. Mephistopheles has been waiting for this moment, having manipulated events to gain his own freedom from both the Valshares' control and his imprisonment in the hells. With the Valshares dead, the bindings that held him shatter. The Archdevil reveals his true plan. He intends to use the Valshares' assembled armies to conquer the surface world and transform it into another hell, a domain under his direct control where he can harvest mortal souls for eternity. But first, he deals with you. The Archdevil strikes you down, killing you with a gesture that demonstrates the vast gulf between mortal power and his own capabilities. As your consciousness fades, you expect oblivion. Instead, Mephistopheles offers resurrection on his terms. He brings you back to life, but the offer comes with conditions. Join him. Serve as his agent in the mortal world. Accept his power and use it to achieve whatever personal ambitions you harbor. In exchange, you need only swear loyalty to him and accept the mark of his service. The choice you face here is perhaps the most significant of your entire journey. You have the opportunity to claim power beyond anything most mortals ever experience. With Mephistopheles' backing, you could rule nations, reshape civilizations, achieve any goal you set. But the price is your soul, your autonomy, your very identity subsumed into service of a being who views you as a tool rather than a person. You can refuse Mephistopheles, maintaining your independence and your moral integrity, but forfeiting the power he offers. This choice leads to a final confrontation with the Archdevil himself, a battle against one of the most powerful entities in existence. The fight is nearly impossible, a struggle against a being who has existed for eons and commands forces that dwarf mortal magic. Yet through skill, determination, and the support of your allies, you can prevail even against such odds. Victory means destroying or banishing Mephistopheles, saving the surface world from his schemes, and proving that mortal courage can triumph even over the powers of hell itself. Alternatively, you might accept Mephistopheles' offer, at least initially, gaining his power and using it to achieve your own ends. This path opens different possibilities, darker endings where you become something more and less than human, where you sacrifice your soul for the ability to reshape the world according to your vision. Some choose to eventually betray the Archdevil, using his power against him in a gambit that risks everything. Others embrace their new nature, becoming a force of darkness themselves. Regardless of which path you choose, your journey through the Underdark and your confrontation with the forces of the lower planes cements your legend. You have faced threats that would destroy armies. You have bargained with archdevils and fought drow matrons. You have traveled through realms that most surface dwellers never even imagine exist. Your name becomes known not just in Neverwinter or on the Sword Coast, but throughout Faerun and beyond. Bards sing of your deeds. Scholars study your choices and their consequences. Future adventurers measure themselves against the standards you set. The legend of Neverwinter Nights, from the wailing death that began everything to the depths of the Underdark, where your greatest battles unfolded, represents a journey of transformation. You began as a student, uncertain and untested. You became a hero who saved a city, you evolved into a champion who faced threats to the entire world. The path was never easy. You lost allies and friends. You made choices that still haunt your quiet moments. You witnessed horrors that can never be unseen and participated in acts of violence that stained your hands with blood that will never fully wash away. But you also experienced triumph. You saved thousands of lives from plague. You stopped conspiracies that would have unmade reality. You showed mercy when others demanded vengeance. You proved that courage and determination can overcome seemingly impossible odds. Your legend lives on, inspiring others to take up arms against darkness, to stand firm when all seems lost, to believe that individual actions matter even in a world of gods and archdevils and ancient powers beyond mortal comprehension. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the legend of Neverwinter Nights, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. There are countless other stories from across the dungeons and Dragon's multiverse waiting to be explored. Legends and lore that deserve to be told with the same care and detail we have given to this tale. Thank you for joining me on this journey through plague and conspiracy, through ancient ruins and the depths of the Underdark. Until next time, may your own adventures be legendary.